Hello and welcome to the Two Halves Podcast. This is our brand new show here on the Soccer Spotlight channel. I am joined by my co-host here, James.
Hello.
And today we have got a lot of beefy, juicy stories from the football world, starting with arguably the best player in world football, Lionel Messi.
News came out this week that he has handed in a transfer request to Barcelona. And we're all, the footballing world's just kind of shocked by it, really. Like, he's a one-club man. He has been his entire life. He's been at the club since he was a teenager. But the 8-2 dredging by Bayern Munich in the Champions League has seemed to tested his patience to the limit, and he has handed in a transfer request to Barcelona. So, what are your thoughts on this then?
I think it's been a long time coming. I think,
you reckon?
Yeah, because if you look, it's still the Barcelona squad's always kind of stayed the same. And I think maybe they're past it and they need to move on. I think he might need to move on. Obviously, if you have Messi at your club, you do everything you can to keep him. And I'm not actually sure if he will leave Barcelona this season. I actually think he's doing it to get some change higher up.
That has been the rumour, hasn't it?
Well, he's unhappy with the club. He's been unhappy with the higher up of Barcelona for a while now, and if you're a player like Messi, you do literally anything you can to keep him around.
Because is it at a point, is the player bigger than the club? Do we think that? Or is it just like he is so important that in order to keep him, you have to fulfill his wishes? He's not the only main player. You think about Gerard Piqué and Sergio Busquets, who have been there almost as long as Messi. And they've always had their opinions. Piqué gave his opinion after the Bayern game, saying he'd be the first to go if that's what it takes for Barcelona to have this rebuild. So maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe Messi's just pushing his agenda forward so the hierarchy can sort it out.
Yeah, I think it must be, because if is he bigger than the club? No player is bigger than the club they play for. However, he is arguably him and Ronaldo the best. I think he's the best player in the footballing world. So he's going to be a tough one to get hold of from Barcelona. I'm looking here on Sky Sports News. Let me just find the quote.
I think I've seen the gossip saying that the only most likely team he would move to if he did leave would be Manchester City, because they seem to be the only team that can actually fulfill his wages, and they've actually remained very tight-lipped on this whole scenario as well.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be good to have him in the Premier League. It'd be terrifying to watch your team play against him. So Sky Sports are reporting, while Barcelona claims he is the subject of a €700 million, so that's £630 million buyout clause, Messi's representatives reportedly believe a clause in his contract means he can leave for free, but it's unclear where the player might move to if he does go. But the likely transfer fee and his salary mean very few clubs could afford him. Obviously, it's going to be one of your oil money clubs, because no one else is going to be able to bring him in.
Well, the thing is, when you think about it, the amount of marketing that Messi will bring him himself, from shirt sales alone, and marketing for the Premier League, they'd get most of that money back anyway from the transfer fee. And you think about, do you know the state La Liga would be in if Messi left? Because that's Messi and Ronaldo. That attraction that La Liga has will be gone, because the two greatest players in the world now play in Serie A and potentially the Premier League.
For sure. And I mean, the Spanish league is not as much a joke as the French league, but it can be a bit of a joke sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So the Sun, and obviously it's the Sun. Don't take everything the Sun says as truth. But the Sun are saying that Guardiola is to offer free players in a Man City swap move for Messi.
I read the BBC Sport actually responded to that, and they've said that Bernardo Silva, Mahrez and Jesus would be staying put at Manchester City. They actually confirmed that this morning. So in response to what the Sun said yesterday. So it's still unclear how a Messi move would materialise. But as I said, it's a very interesting saga, and don't expect this to be going away anytime soon, especially from the headlines.
No, do you think it's the one that's going to drag out the whole transfer window and then be like a deadline day?
I don't know, because he could move. He can move because his contract expires next season, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I think so. And if it does, then I suppose that would be another chance for him to leave. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see whether it is just this whole big facade, to see if he's actually just trying to get the hierarchy sorted out. As we know, the president resigned.
Yeah.
Or he actually has just said, I want change, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and I think, personally, I think he'll stay at Barca. I think he's doing it to get some change, but time will tell. Talk Sport this morning, something hits quite home to me with my club. A Spurs fan went on Talk Sport this morning and said that he wouldn't swap Messi for Dele Alli or Heung-min Son.
And then I think he might need to be checked into Broadmoor. That's incredible. Like, I understand Messi's like old, but the best player in the world, he would never go to Tottenham.
No, he never would. He never would come to Tottenham. But
for those who are like unaware, Josh is a Tottenham fan.
I'm a Tottenham supporter. And then we'll say it now, because they don't know. I'm Spurs, James is Brighton, and we go from that. But look, I love Dele Alli and Heung-min Son. Would I want... Okay, Son for Messi? I don't know, because I do really like Son. Dele Alli for Messi, I'll pack his bag and put him on the plane myself. So, you know...
I mean, there was that link of Ali going to Real Madrid, but we're sidetracking too much.
So that's the Messi drama that's going on.
So let's move on now.
Yeah, more drama coming out of Manchester.
Yep, the red half of Manchester this time. Harry Maguire. Now, yesterday he had an interview with BBC regarding his arrest. He was found guilty of aggravated assault, attempted bribery, and another charge which I can't actually remember. And he has been granted a retrial. He's appealing. Which means,
I think it's something to do with the Greek laws, if you have a retrial, then any verdict in your previous court case
is wiped.
Yeah, it's wiped. So he is now innocent again of the charges he has been charged with.
Does that mean that if he was found guilty again, would that mean he actually would have to serve his prison sentence?
I don't know.
Because that's an interesting one. That would be interesting. But anyway, going back to the interview, he said how he was, he had no idea what was going on because he was attacked by, or like intervened by, he was on a minibus, and a group of plain-clothed Greek policemen who didn't identify themselves to him started trying to arrest him. They hit him in the legs and said, "Your career is over." And if that's happening to you when you're a famous footballer, you think, he could be getting kidnapped, because that's what he thought, he was being kidnapped.
Yeah, well, you got to think. He's captain of Manchester United, probably the most well-known team in the world, and he's also in England. Not anymore. He's been dropped by Southgate, but he was England's centre half. So. Well,
he still is. He's one of the most influential players. He was ever present in the World Cup in 2018 in Russia, so the world knows the face. So you can't blame him for being so concerned about what's going on.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, there was also that allegation that a group of Albanians injected his sister with what he thought was a date rape drug, and how he was trying to intervene. And he said he doesn't owe any apologies to anyone. I would say maybe he owes an apology to his family for the stress he's putting them through. I think he's mentioned that as well. But I personally do think the charges are trumped up, and I think because it is Maguire, because of his status, they're very... I don't think he should have been found guilty. Like what I've heard, I think he was acting in self-defence and he was scared.
Yeah, I mean, it's fight or flight, isn't it? So he chose fight, and here we are.
Do you think this will affect his career, or going on long term?
Long term, I don't think so. He's kept the captaincy at United. Obviously, he's been dropped from the England squad. I don't know if that's been changed now, but last I checked, he was dropped from the England squad, obviously, which affects it.
Southgate said there is always a space for him, so it's not like he's being stripped of his... He's not been stripped of his caps or anything stupid like that, because I don't think Southgate thinks he's in the wrong either. I think he just wants to see what happens with this case. And at the end of the day, Maguire is probably one of our best centre-backs. He probably is our best centre-back. Like he's leaps and bounds ahead of our John Stones and our Chris Smallings.
Yeah, obviously. To answer your question, I think it will affect his career whilst the case is going on. Long term, I don't think it will. I don't think it should either.
It's a psychological thing as well. So just hopefully, I mean, we're all hoping that his this case is resolved as soon as possible and he can just get back to his football. Because at the end of the day, that's what a footballer should be in a spotlight for and nothing else.
Yeah, that's it. And it could be worse. We've had players out of Manchester United do a lot worse.
Let's not go into that, shall we?
So swiftly moving on from that then, Chelsea has been active in this transfer window.
Very, very busy. I'm actually scared.
Yeah, this morning as of recording, they announced Thiago Silva on a free.
So 1 year deal from Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, so do you think it's a good business, Thiago Silva, for a free?
I think it's great. I'll tell you why. It's not necessarily about the quality of the player, because while he is ageing, he's probably got another couple of years left in him, and he has performed at the top level, especially for Brazil. Not necessarily Paris Saint-Germain, because although they are in a Ligue 1, which is not the most competitive league, he has played previously for AC Milan and some big Italian clubs as well, and he has always remained at the top. But what I think he will be most useful is almost as a mentor for younger players coming through as well for Chelsea, so they can almost carry on his legacy and carry on how he plays. And Chelsea's youngsters, this young team, bearing in mind with your Fikayo Tomori's at the back and Reece James's, in a few years' time, this Chelsea team could be absolutely incredible.
They could be.
With the likes of also Ben Chilwell being announced for, I believe it was 45 million on a 5-year deal or something. And arguably, again, probably one of the best left-backs in the world, behind Davies and Alba. I just think the business that Chelsea have done so far, in the addition to Ziyech and Werner up front, the possibility of Havertz signing as well, and even a replacement goalkeeper. If they get a replacement goalkeeper, I'm seeing Chelsea as fighting with City and Liverpool for the top. And I'm not saying that lightly. Yeah,
so I think Thiago Silva, that I'm going to put Spurs-Chelsea rivalries aside, because this is an unbiased show. The real change when I got to talk about Arsenal. But listen, they're going to have their criticism of the amount of money they spend, because every team that spends big does get criticised. I think so far they've spent about 125 million maybe so far.
How much have Spurs spent? How much has come out of Levy's back pocket?
Well, we spent 15 million on Højbjerg. Joe Hart was a free, and Doherty is looking like it's a done deal for, I think it's another 15. So we spent 30 million on 2 players, which
that's got to be a club record.
No. We got Ndombele for 60 or something like that. Waste of money that was. But anyway, back to Chelsea. Look, I watched Jan Vertonghen last season, right? Who I think his legs were done for the Premier League, and then it was sad to see. Thiago Silva, Chelsea fans should be slightly concerned. It could be the same. Maybe he's aging. Maybe he's too old for the Premier League, the competitiveness of the Premier League.
See, I personally don't agree with that, because I watched the Champions League final, and I've watched Paris Saint-Germain in the earlier stage as well of the Champions League, and seeing him at the back and the pace he got back, he's still got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of legs left in him, and just the way he carried himself for those 90 minutes, he's barely breaking a sweat, the man.
I mean, if I'm wrong, it'll make it very entertaining to watch Chelsea play.
I think Chelsea are the ones to watch next season if they also get the Havertz deal done and they bring in a decent keeper to replace Kepa, who has been...
Kepa needs to go for that.
Underwhelming, my bad, to put it nicely.
Well, they've got right now, so I've got here what they've done. So they've brought in Timo Werner for 47 million, which is... Timo Werner's insane. Ben Chilwell for 45 million, which is interesting because Leicester City fans are happy to see him go. So should Chelsea fans be worried?
I don't think so. This is a 23-year-old who's got a lot of potential and a lot of room to improve. And he is an England international as well. And at 23 years old and you're achieving all of that and you're just getting started. So I think he has got a lot of ability. I think he's going to be great. I think Lampard will get the best out of him. And I can see Chelsea's defence improving massively under him and Silva.
Yeah. And then lastly, they've gone and bought Hakim Ziyech from Ajax, who He's just a class player, and he's just good. I would have loved to see him come to Spurs, but he's gone to another part of London, and he's now a rival. But
seeing him in the
luck to
Champions
him.
League last season, especially even against Tottenham, he's just incredible. And he's 26, isn't he, or something? 26, 27, and he's just an incredible to watch.
27 he is, but look, I think I'm worried about Chelsea next season. I think any team who isn't Chelsea should be worried, unless you're Liverpool or Man City, because even though they're spending the money, I don't think they're gonna beat City or Liverpool.
Who do you think else can rival those three teams? Because I look at Manchester United and I saw their form towards the end of last season, and even if they get this Sancho deal done, or if they get any other bring in some decent players just to shore up their defence, or just little touches here and there, they could be top four.
I think it would, if another team was going to rival, I think it would be Man United. Obviously, reports are saying right now that they've dropped interest in Sancho and they're going for Jack Grealish instead.
75 million. I think
Needs to happen though. He needs to get out of Villa because he's too good for Aston Villa now. No offence, Villa fans. And then also you're going to laugh at this, and most fans will, because we never take it seriously. But listen, Spurs have signed a defensive midfielder which we needed since Dembele left, and we've signed a right back because Sergio is not good enough. And Højbjerg and Doherty, I think Doherty in stats is second to Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Doherty's not confirmed yet.
And no, it's not. It's looking like it's a done deal. And Højbjerg had better stats than most central defence. I think he's number one on stats for defensive midfielders in the Premier League last season. I'm excited to see what Bruno can do with him. So I think, obviously, whilst we're not getting these, these sexy transfers as such, I think we might be a decent team. Obviously, if we go and bottle it, which we usually do. Obviously, this clip's going to be quite a funny one to watch for other fans, but I don't know. I think it's going to be so many teams were poor last season and everyone's strengthening. I thought this is going to be such a good season, but I just don't think any of us are at the level of Liverpool and City just yet.
No, I will mention. I'll give an honourable mention to Arsenal as well, who have brought in is Gabriel confirmed now from Lille?
I'm not too sure.
The Aubameyang contract, Arteta's come out and said he's confident he'll sign a new contract. And it looks like Arsenal are linked with some other high-profile targets, such as Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona, they've been linked with, among others. And I think it's going to be Arsenal and Tottenham probably going to be best of the rest, fifth or sixth between the both of them. Manchester United could be in that as well. I don't know if Arsenal and Spurs will actually be able to keep up with United. But I think it's going to be Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea who will be pulling away as the top three for the Premier League this season.
So yeah, I think Chelsea are going to get third, and I think it's an open scrap between Arsenal, Leicester, Tottenham, maybe Wolves, Man United for fourth.
We'll see if Doherty's leaving Wolves, that's going to leave a big gaping hole at the back. And I would say Sheffield United as well, but now Henderson's gone back to Manchester United. They have signed Aaron Ramsdale from the relegated Bournemouth, and he is a good player, but it would be very interesting to see if he can fill in such big gloves, I suppose, in this case.
That's it. So, lastly, I want to briefly, you want to speak about the YouTube side, #United.
Yeah, so we're moving down a few tiers. I think we're in the 9th tier now of the English League. And #United, team run by, founded by YouTuber Spencer Owen, are making their debut in the FA Cup this season. They will be facing Parkview away on the 1st of September. And it just shows what the power of creators can do. This team #United they've got a strong esports team, and they've had a brilliant football team, and they've got I was actually reading earlier there's a footballer, Scott, I can't remember his surname, who moved to Northampton Town League 2, and he's a product of the #Academy, and he's gone on to be named like Northampton's most prospective player or something like that. And to think that # are starting to bring out players of quality, it's just weird to see a team like that in the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? I hope they can go on a really good run. Imagine if we got to like the third round and got drawn with like United away or something.
I mean, it would be hilarious if they managed to make it far, but I don't know. I don't think you want to get your hopes up. #United supporters. I can't see them making it far, but it doesn't matter if they don't make it far because it's amazing that they're there in the first place. So fair play to them.
It's a team that's gone beyond the gimmick and have actually achieved that. And I'm like, what else can they achieve? It's been incredible. And hats off to Spencer Owen and everyone involved in the club. Congratulations.
For sure, it's a very respectable achievement to even get to the FA Cup. So fair play to him. So that is the end of our very first podcast on the Soccer Spotlight channel. This was the first episode of the Two Halves Podcast. We have got a prediction show coming out soon called Before the Whistle, where we will be predicting the game fixtures every week in the Premier League season. But until then, thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.
Please like, subscribe to the channel, and you can find us on Twitter. Link will be in the description. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.